What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Business Breakthrough. I'm happy to be back. I got my guy, Dustin Whitney, mustache painting, powerful business breakthrough. He even admitted it. He said this was an absolute breakthrough. You guys are going to love this. Get you charged up for 2024. Awesome session with Dustin. And it starts right now. Contractors all over the world are wanting more time, more freedom, more impact. The way we do this is through implementing systems, processes, standards. Welcome to the Contractor Secrets Podcast. Here we hit business strategy, coaching, mindset, motivation, the tools you need for success. So strap in, listen up, and get ready to grow on the Contractor Secrets Podcast.
Absolutely.
Right on. What's up, everyone? I'm here with Dustin Whitney, good friend of mine, mustache painting from down the road. What's up, my friend? What brings you today? You called the meeting. What's going on in the business?
Yeah, no, no, thanks for your time, Tanner.
Of course.
It's for honestly, I've had my business over 2 years,
Yeah, I
and
remember when you started it.
yep, and I've been doing it 2 jobs, and this is my third week as a full-time entrepreneur in my business.
Awesome.
So, and being new, as far as new as really all in, it's like your mindset's different now, right? You go all in. You're in business full time now. You're not relying on a corporate structure, corporate big business tools, that steady corporate paycheck. So you tend to bid jobs a little differently. You tend to look at things a little differently. It's like, so now I wanted to call the meeting, obviously, because I wanted to. It's always good. You have some good insight. You've been doing this for a long time. And yeah, I'm just trying to grow and just really make sure that I've got some foundational things, obviously, but it's always good to be with like-minded peers like yourself and just kind of hear kind of what to look for and yeah, just because some good fundamental stuff in business, quite frankly.
Awesome, man. Yeah, tell me how the business is structured right now. Did you decide on if you're doing employees or are you guys doing subcontractors? Are you painting? What's going on?
Yeah. No, so I'm not on the tools. I do have 3 employees now, and I have some sub crews as well. So I run a little bit of a hybrid model. When I first started, it was easier just to have sub crews. I say easier. I'm using that term a little loosely. I know it can you find a good subs, trusted partners alliances can be tough. But I was blessed enough to get a couple of good ones right out the gate. I worked with my Sherwin rep and my store, right, and they obviously they have that big, network, and they kind of know who's out there, and it's really leading into my supplier partner, quite frankly, and getting some little insight from them and some direction, and then I was able to pick up a couple sub crews. The business is going, and then in the midst of working it that way, I found there's always pros and cons, right? When you have subs and employees, you got to be careful. You can't just dictate everyone's schedule, especially if they're not an employee. I learned that, right? It's like, hey, they're actually helping my business too by, taking some, not going doing some jobs that they want and do some jobs for me. So there's that balance I was really learning just out the gate of just going, oh yeah, well, they have their company and their life too. I can't just treat them like an employee. So I learned that pretty
Yeah.
quick. And so just kind of navigating that at first, and then hired a couple employees, and it's just so different. I'm beholden to them, right? That I was like, oh my gosh, I can't be slow now. Like
Yeah.
subs, like, hey, I don't have anything this week. Like, no problem, I'm
Yep.
working over
Yep. That's
here. No big deal.
the big exchange. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the big exchange. And so I was like, man, I really got to make sure, what is my marketing efforts, if any, right? So those types of things, like, well, shoot, it's been so peaks and valleys of the flow of work now. Now it has to be consistent, so I'm like, oh man, I really need to really think about a good marketing go to market strategy now, and making sure the pipeline's being filled with leads, good qualified leads, and things of that nature. So things that you've talked
Yeah.
about 1,000 times.
Yeah. And when it's yours, it's real now. It's a
Yeah.
real issue that you have to navigate. And you can talk about it all you want, but if the leads aren't coming in, we're in. So what I like to think about is that you're gonna have to face it. It's either gonna be reactive or it's gonna be strategic, right?
And anytime that there's something that you know is going to happen, you have to plant roots. You have to figure out how to get this done the right way. And I know that you and I both know that number one, you want to grow your business because you wouldn't have quit your job, right? That's number one. Number two, like you said, peaks and valleys, man. You're in a valley right now, and it's going to be that way until you get your systems to where things are just happening, like leads are coming in organically, jobs are getting done consistently, and things are going to feel good. But that's illusionary, because the interesting thing about service businesses is you're always as good as your last job.
That's
And
right.
it's good to keep, it's different than, like, for example, software, is that the fulfillment is consistent. It's the same thing every single time. With production, that's different. So it kind of, you need to visualize yourself in the middle of these two things. And on the right side, you're managing, keeping production afloat, you're checking in on people, you're building your team, you're building your leadership, you're creating standards, you're creating a system for something, you're managing, the relationships you have with these employees, you're managing the relationships you have with subs, you're putting checks and balances in place, you're holding people accountable, you're identifying patterns of, hey, is this person the person I thought they were? Do I need to let this person go? So this occupies a lot of your headspace more than anything. The flip side of that is customer relations. Customer relations is, hey, making sure customers are informed, making sure deadlines are hit, making sure they're educated, making sure they're nurtured, making sure, and that's just customers. Then you have the lead side. The lead side isn't just acquiring the leads, it's nurturing the leads. It's making sure that leads are qualified, like you said, making sure they're educated. So here's where I'm getting at with all this is the first thing you need to do is build up this production foundation to where you're already doing it in a way that you're preparing for the leads. And I think that's a big mistake that I've seen, is that there's this hesitation to hire, because it's like, well, if I hire and I can't, get the leads, then I'll never, I'll blow up.
Mm-hmm.
It'll, it's just, the business will fail. And it's true. But like you said, you're utilizing the leverage that you have of, like, hey, I have these people to keep busy. I need to kick this stuff in gear. So with that said, I kind of just want to wrap that thought up and say, you have a team now that seems to be good. You have a team of 3. They're doing jobs together. Or are you splitting them up? What does that look like?
Yeah, we're attacking together because we work really well. Yeah, they work excellent together. Yeah.
Great. So you've done something that haven't seen often so quickly. Within 3 weeks of getting your business up, you've gotten this team of 3, and that's amazing. The other side of it is, well, and I would like to mention that right there is predictability. You've created predictability there. Would you agree? Like, if you send these guys to a job, there's going to be an adequate or even above average result generated for the customer, right?
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's your production. So you've kind of refined that in a way. Now, tell me about your marketing. Do you feel like you have anything on the marketing side that is predictable?
No, I have absolutely no go-to-market strategy. I've been fortunate enough to have some wholesale clients that feed me work,
Right.
but that just pays the bills, right? Like, where you accumulate, a successful business, as is acquiring good customers that meet those 3 Ps that Steve
Yeah.
Burnett talks about, the people,
Yeah.
process, and profit, right? So that I'm in that phase of now, like, okay, I know I need to, for example, I know this sounds very rudimentary, but I know I need to revamp our website to where when someone comes to that site, they're gonna understand who I am, my story, the quality, the credentials, and hearing it from other customers' mouths, really take them through that journey.
Can
Yeah,
I interject here? And I don't mean to interrupt. I
yeah,
want to get you the most out of the time.
yeah,
If that is your first thought about what is going to fix your problem, we gotta go backwards, because if people aren't getting to that website, then
right.
that
No, for
website
sure.
don't matter. Wait. And you have to understand how people buy nowadays. They're not most people don't go to the website of the service that they need. And it's really important for you to understand this, is that the website isn't about your story, who you are. Some customers, yes, there's some customers that want to see that story, and we'll have that for them. But most customers call us when they recognize they have a need. So with that
Mhm.
said, we have to understand, number one, how easy is it on that website for them to contact us, right? I mean, it's just got to be that it's on a mobile
Yeah.
device. there needs to be a button within one scroll up that says, here's your next step, because we got to understand, in the same way, if our electricity goes out, what are we doing? We're Googling an electrician. We're looking at the reviews. I don't even go to the websites. I just look at the reviews and hit the call button on Google. Right. So for me, I'm looking at it. Yes, a website's important, and really a website should just, in the same way, like our team should be a representation of the reputation, like your reputation precedes you. Your website should precede you. Like, in other words, like the website should just be something that falls in line with what they saw originally. So before, back in the day, they would have to find a website, go to the website, and then make their decision there. Now the trust is being built with the marketing, and people are just making decisions to get a quote from you based off of the marketing. The website really isn't just, it's not as important as it used to be. So I'll tell you this, Dustin, and this is the advice that I've been given as of late, and I want you to know this, so at least you know. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a challenge for you, but I'm just going to put it out there. First, I want to know, are you spending any money on marketing?
Not enough.
Not enough.
I mean, it's not enough. Yeah.
That's okay. Do you have that Google page built out?
Yep. Got yeah. Yep. I got. As I was doing this business, quote unquote, part time, I was building 5-star reviews. I'm up to like 30. So my reputation started to get out there, and I do local Google service ads, and I got that badge, the certified badge that I'm trustworthy, background check, Google verify, whatever. But to your question, to answer your question, it's like a couple $100 a month, maybe, in marketing efforts.
SEO, is anyone managing that listing? Is anyone okay? So I want you to just understand it from Google's perspective. Is their responsibility is to deliver the results to their customers, the most effective results. Now, of course, reviews are going to have the heaviest weight, but 30 reviews in your town probably isn't top 10%. So that, if you were in a small town, you'd be right up there. So we have to be a little bit more strategic. You got to understand that Google's going to be the best customers. There are people that are seeking the service. They chose you. Now you can optimize that Google page to make it look like your story, right? I mean, that's the same thing that you want to accomplish. And that'll all resonate with, the images you have on there, what people say in those reviews, your responses to those reviews. That is you, Dustin, and that is your mission, and that is your brand, right? So people will make decisions based off of that, but it needs to be one of the top 3, because people see painting businesses the same way I see a landscaping business as a landscape business. We're not Apple, but we're not a big brand to where it's like, oh, that's, maybe in 10 years there'll be a franchise. And I think CertaPro is probably the closest, where it's like, I've heard of someone that used them, or I used them in the past. So that's an easy no-brainer. I'll call them again. I'll go to Amazon again. That was a good experience before. So with painting, still wide open. So what we need to do is we need to pay to play. And I'm just going to be honest here, and what the expectation should be is, first of all, you need to think of yourself as a sales company that sells paint jobs. Okay. Yep. That is how you have got to identify as, because if you don't, you're going to lose. And I don't say lose in the sense of you're going to lose your business. You just won't get past the constant wondering where the leads are coming from. You have to control that. You have to control that. So if you position yourself as a sales company, all good sales companies spend money on leads, and they spend money on anyone that says that they can give them leads, and they do whatever they can because they know that it's the easiest investment in the world. In other words, if you're a sales company and you're buying leads at $50 a pop, in our space, our average job size is $4,000 to $6,000.
Sure.
Right? So if you do the math, it's like all you're doing is putting money through a recycler and bringing out more. So that's that's really the mindset. And I just want to close with this part here, is that if you want to win, you have got to have somebody that owns, manages, and refines that Google listing page. We can't leave that up to when we get around to it. It deserves the same amount of attention as your taxes do by a bookkeeper and an accountant. It deserves the same amount of attention as your Facebook ads will by an expert who specializes in Facebook ads. It deserves the same amount of attention as everything that somebody would specialize in if you want an optimal result,
Sure. Yep.
Which I'm sure you know this. I'm sure you know this, but I'm just, hammering it.
Look, no, it's good that you hammer it back, because look, I mean, you're doing the Vince Lombardi thing, right? When Vince Lombardi, when he first got with his football team, he held up a football and he goes, "Hey, this is a football." I mean, he went right back to the very basic fundamental of the game and started with, "This is a football." So the
I like
fundamental,
that.
I mean, it's the truth. It's what he did, right? And so you saying this, like, duh, basic stuff. Come on, man. Blocking and tackling, X and O's of the business, right? It's execute. Okay, let's take a step back. Let's do the fundamental foundational things for the business and then build upon that. So everything you're saying it resonates with me. It's just like just a reminder of like an accountability thing going,
Yeah.
come on, Dustin, like
Well, your
go
head's
on.
down, right? Your
Yeah,
head's down,
yeah,
you're cranking,
yeah.
man. You guys are blowing through jobs. And what we want is really you have to go through a learning curve of how Facebook ads works, how Angie Leads works, how Google SEO works. And you have to go through those learning experiences. You have to learn how that works. That
Yeah.
takes time. And right now, you have to realize that if I were to tell you, Dustin, hey, in 1 year, you have the potential to generate $600,000 with 2 crews. So let's say you and I are working together and I give you the goal of by June 1st, I need another crew of 3. That crew of 3 should generate $300,000 for the year. And your crew of 3 now should generate 300,000 for the year. So ultimately that'd be like 450,000 because the second crew's starting halfway through the year.
Right.
And I were to say, hey, Dustin, how many jobs do you think we would need to accomplish that? Right. So if we take, $500,000 and we look at our average job size, we would say, okay, well, we would need, $500,000. We take that, we divide that by our average job size of, let's say, $3,000. Okay. We're going to need 166 jobs. Okay. So you would look at that and you would say, okay, well, I need to do 166 jobs this year. That's a lot of jobs, right? Well, that's again saying average job size is 3,000, right? So if we look at that, well, that means that how many jobs are we doing per week? We're doing 3 jobs a week. Is only 166 jobs, 3 jobs a week. Okay, well, that means that let's just say we have to get 3 sales a week. Can we convert that to sales, which would give us 166 sales? Now, from
Right.
there, we need to reverse engineer how our closing rate's doing, right? And how many
Yeah.
leads it takes us to get to a sale. So in other words, if I told you, Dustin, what happens is every time you get 10 leads, you get 1 sale, right? Now, that doesn't mean your closing ratio is 10%. That just means your lead to sale ratio, lead to customers 10%. So let's break it down even further. If you have those 10 leads and you were able to book 5 appointments for each of your 10 leads, that's a 50% appointment rate. And then you get 1 sale. That means that, at the end of the day, you have a 25% closing rate. And if you have a 25% closing rate, that means 1 out of every 4 estimates becomes a sale, which means you need, if I multiply 3 times 4, you need to do 12 estimates a week to get there. If each lead costs you on average $100, okay, and generally speaking, if you were to purchase leads on Angie Leads, that's $100 a lead on average. So that would be generally a good investment,
Yeah.
and
Right.
if you reverse engineer that, if you look at what the goal is in terms of your gross and you kind of reverse engineer, you could justify those costs a lot easier.
Yeah, no, that's good. No, yeah, no, that makes total sense. I mean, again, you got to have some. If you want to build a fire, you got to have some fuel, and that the marketing is the fuel, and yeah, you got to do it. So no,
Do you have anybody helping you? I mean, do you have anybody in mind that you're looking at to help you with marketing?
I was talking to Lucas, I believe it
Yeah.
was, and
Yep.
yeah, so the timing just isn't. Well, the timing is probably better now. We're having this conversation. The timing's like yesterday now, so I have been talking to him
Cool.
and looking at a couple other purveyors in the market that obviously that's amongst our peers that I hear from. I know you talked to Lucas. I know that Mike Hickman Gore. So he keeps popping up, and I have
Yep.
spoken with him because you recommended
Yep.
him. So it sounds like I just need to, I need to do it.
Yeah, man. And
Make a
last
commitment and
part,
do it.
Dustin, be honest with you, man. If you go into these ads or marketing and you expect these guys to deliver results, you got to realize that with Facebook, if you did decide to do Facebook, that it all comes down to the creatives, right? I mean, you're a user of Facebook, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you scroll there and something catches your attention, you stop and you look, and something that hooks you is something that is relatable, something that is, sometimes educational or even comical, or
Mhm.
again, more importantly, relative to your specific scenario, right? So, and that's the goal of Facebook. And I would just say, if you haven't done this, it would be a very, very good investment for you to hire a videographer to come onto one of your projects and just get some clips, get some, the best, something that's very important to you from what you told me is your story. And I think there's no better way to get a story out that other than the owner of the business on a video telling the story, right? In a professional way. And you can use that video as a header video on your website, right? That'll be the ad that runs on Facebook. And I'll tell you what, that investment of doing some sort of video is going to pay itself back 100-fold.
Yeah, that's good.
You can't beat it.
Every time I get a lead, when someone finds me on my local Google service ad, I'll say, "Hey, how did you find me?" They'll say, "Well, Google." I'll say, "Okay." I said, "Why did you decide to call me amongst the other 5 you called?" They said, "Because your name's Mustache," and it's hilarious. So he's like, "We got to meet this guy." So I gotta leverage that, right? I gotta with the videography and just bring some of my personality that's in the story, and I think that will really resonate. So to your point, it's just taking that action, right? Like Dave Ramsey says, just start. So just start, just
Yeah.
go,
Cool,
so
man. Anything else we can hit on? Any questions, or what do you got?
No, man, this is good. I mean, you hit some things that I really needed to hear that really is challenging me. You know, other than just, it's very nerve-wracking being on my own, I'm just, but again, my faith is keeping me at my sanity, right? And it's keeping me centered. And it's, I look at my guys as I went to a job site today, and we're doing a fairly big job, and we're wrapping it up, and we have one more in front of it. And then I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like these guys are dependent on me to keep going,
It's
and
a
it's like,
blessing.
yeah, it is, and it is, and that's one of the reasons why it takes so much, it's rewarding for me to be in business, because I want to help people who need it. That's number one. And number two, man, I was called to do this, and my goal, Tanner, my why is the reason why I'm doing this, because I want to live off 10% of my income and give away 90% of it. That's really the dream for me and my family. And I'll give you one short little anecdote, and I will wrap it up. I know you're got things to do, but this is my dream. This is the mustache dream, right? Is I go to Waffle House with my family on Christmas Eve. There's a single mom waiting at the table, and she's down because she can't afford Christmas for her kids. And then we leave a couple grand, and we leave, but she don't even know what happened. We're looking through our windshield of our car, and we see her just lose her mind, with this big tip, and now she can actually provide Christmas for her kids. That's my why. That's why I want to do this. That's why. Yeah, sorry I get emotional thinking about it, because that's what I want to do. That's the dream for me.
Well, let me tell you, man, I love that, man. You told me a story. I watched it. I'm getting a little glossy eyed myself, because I know that there's a lot of impact that can be made. And I think, for me, I think that should be, look, here's a difference between those that really win in this business and those that fall behind, Dustin. I'll just give it to you because I like you, man. I want those dreams to come to fruition. You've got to take risks. And I know that we talked about this before, and I think one of those things, it took you quite a little bit of time to pull the trigger. I think we both could agree on that. It took about 2 years
100%.
for you to pull the trigger. The mistake you might make when you continue this journey is that you don't pull the trigger again on things that need to be pulled the trigger on. Do you know what I'm saying? Because the goal here is a very strong why with abundance and impact. And think about the impact and abundance that you'll have on how you pay your team, and when they want to buy a house and they weren't able to do it before, and you did things the right way, and they have a pay stub now, and they can, they're having babies, and you're giving them paid weeks off. And that internal impact is just as profound as the impact that you described. But 100%. I want you to know this, because you got me a little fired up, because this is why I get on here and do these coaching calls, is you never know who's listening, and you never know who I get in touch with. In this case, a good friend here. But I want you to know something, okay? With that as your why, you have nothing to lose. You have to prepare for failure, and you have to prepare for loss. Both of those things were considerations when you quit your job. You just had enough confidence because it was real. You were making real money. You were exchanging. People were having their houses painted and you were managing it. And it was an easy hop over the fence because it took you the time, and that's okay. I want to be clear here. Marketing never gives you that easy hop over the fence. It's I'm going to lose this $3,000. At the end of the day, I'm going to lose this $5,000. But guess what you're doing? You're placing the burden and the responsibility on the person who's in charge of those funds. And that's the big difference here. And I would just say to you, man, it's like, make the quick decisions. If you get a recommendation from me or someone that's been on this podcast here, they're there for a reason. I mean, I think that's number one. The second part of it is again, my thing is this isn't an option, Dustin. You need to hire somebody quick because again, like I said, there's a learning curve here. You got to learn what to say to them. You need to learn how to audit them. You need to learn, what expectations need to be. You need to learn how those leads actually respond to your ads, what type of leads they are. Is this even worth doubling down on? I mean, because at the end of the day, man, like you can't go into 2024 without a plan. So pick something and go. It doesn't have to be Google right now. I think that's more of a long-term play, but I do think it's either going to be Facebook ads or Angie Leads. Have you tried Angie Leads?
It's Crapjack, not Angie. I've tried Crapjack Leads, and that kind of got my business a little boosted because I'm good at selling. So yeah, but I kind of tapered them down because I got tired of the recycle leads, quite frankly.
Sure.
Sorry, Crapjack, but I haven't tried Angie. And look, I guess I was talking to Lucas, and I got a little. You called me out. I got a little scared of taking the risk, and I'm like, do I really need it? Yeah, but to hear you say that to me in this coaching session, it's exactly what I needed to hear. I need to just trust the Lord and take that risk.
Yeah,
I'm not planning to fail, so why am I acting like that, right?
I can tell you this. At the end of the day, it's no more am I going to fail? It's am I going to win or am I going to learn? Because you're going to come out better. The next guy that pitches you marketing services, guess what you're going to know? What not to do. It doesn't matter if it's Lucas, Eric, my friends who I trust that I know have a responsibility not only to you, but to me. If I give them my recommendation, but I'm being honest. I mean, that's just how it is. And both of them are my very good friends. They're going to do a great job. But I just want you to know this, though. It's like, Dustin, this not only requires you to make the investment in the ads, it requires you to make the investment in your follow-up process, to make the investment in your sales refinement, to make the investment in video marketing and getting a videographer and just writing those checks. Because you have a very, very strong, deeply rooted impact mission that if you look at the big picture, this entry fee is nothing in comparison to what God will bring you with that mission, which I know that, is just incredibly powerful, man. And the only thing that's going to stop you is doubt and fear. The fear usually comes from what if of like, is this going to work? And the doubt usually comes in the doubts of your own capabilities because this is all new to you. But guess what, man? You figured this out, brother. And if you think that employees motivate you, wait until you're spending $3,000 a month on marketing, how motivated you'll be to follow up with those leads and capitalize on every opportunity. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a different ballgame.
So true, man. It's like so true. That's so good, man.
And here's the deal. You look at Mike, right, with coaching. At the end of the day, you look at whatever that costs. I think it's a $5,000 entry, and then it's like a monthly fee or whatever that is. At the end of the day, what you're signing up for is accountability. That's all it is. It's somebody that keeps your goals accountable. And if you feel like you can do that on your own, sure. But you and I both know if you have to put an entry fee in of $5,000, anyone that sells anything that's worth anything, including myself, including you, when you sell paint jobs, when you sell it, that the goal is to give the person more value than they're giving you, right? I mean, I think we both understand that, right? So anyone that's made their way in the marketplace as someone of high quality, high standard that's being referred has a track record for doing that. And I just want you to understand that, like, that's their goal is like, if you don't get more than $5,000 worth of information, time, or even resources, then they failed you. And I think they all have guarantees of that. Like, if you really feel like you don't increase by, I think Mike's guarantee is, 30 grand. Hold them to it. If you don't make 30 grand, brother, guess what? Get your bread back. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's powerful. No, you're right. You're right, man. I mean, there's really, honestly, Tanner, there's really no excuse for any of us, including myself. There's no excuse. Like I said, I appreciate men like you, like-minded men like you, and all these resources we have. This has never been a better time to really do
Cool.
this business the correct way and raise the boats. I
Cool.
agree.
Raise the
Can't
boats,
argue that
man.
point.
Take the risk. And then really what my last thought is that, Dustin, what does $1 million painting business look like for you? How would that change your perspective of just what you're capable of, man? And as a leader, I think that you got to realize the lives, who you'll become when you hit that is just so, it's so cool to look back and say, man, like, cause I'll be honest, I do these breakthroughs because I had those same thoughts, those same fears, those same doubts. And I have, aside from money, man, it's the freedom to choose to have your time. And that is something that I want to give to anyone that comes my way. That's why I do these, because it's just, man, you're a couple decisions away from just being free of those concerns that you have each day of like, man, like where are these jobs coming from? How is word of mouth isn't an active job source. It's a passive one. It's like people tell each other in passing, unless you're given a crazy incentive and you have people out there that
Right.
their focus is to tell people about your business, which it's not.
Sure.
It's generally hoping that Miss Sally, who had such a great experience, tells the two people that she interacts with in person now, because people aren't as in touch, so there's so much there, man, so much there.
That's so good, Tanner. Man, this truly was a breakthrough session for me, man. That's just,
Cool.
as simplistic as it was. The simplicity of what you're saying is so powerful. I can't thank you enough, man. Thank you.
My pleasure, man. Well, I expect great things. I'm sure you'll keep me updated.
You know I will, brother.
All right, man, you take care of yourself. God bless you.
God bless you, Tanner. Your
Thank you
family
for
as well,
this, because I got motivated too.
man. Oh, praise the Lord. God bless
All
you.
right,
Merry
man.
Christmas.
Take care, buddy. Same to you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks so much for listening to the Contractor Secrets podcast. So I don't really advertise on this, and I don't ask for much. You guys know that. But what I would ask of you is to give Dripjobs a try. So if you don't know what Dripjobs is, it'd be hard for that to be a thing. But if you don't know what Dripjobs is, it is the software that you need to power your business, to automate things that you're either wanting to do and not doing, or currently doing and just not doing to the standard of which you want to be doing it. And that's where software comes in. I have spent the last 3 years of my life with my team building out this software. And hopefully by now you've heard about it. And maybe you know of a friend that's using it, or maybe you are feeling confident just by hearing it on this podcast. So my big ask for you, if you're getting something out of what I put out, some of the value that you're getting from this podcast, is to just go to dripjobs.com and schedule a free demo with my team. That's it. That's all I want you to do. Just do a demo. I want you to be aware of what features we have and how it can help build your business. Now, some people that I've spoken to say they're not quite ready for Dripjobs. Maybe they feel as though they're too small or it's not in the budget. First of all, everyone's ready for Dripjobs. You need the features that are in this software to manage a business, whether that's creating proposals, invoices, change orders, work orders. It doesn't matter if you are a one-man operation or you run a crew of 25 people. Dripjobs is going to be the app for you. Second thing is it out of budget? Don't worry about that right now. We offer an extended trial if you sign up on the day of the demo that can give you a kickstart to get going. The goal of Dripjobs is to make you money within the first 30 days. This could be capitalizing on a lead that you got, or even helping you upsell work with the optional item feature. So many things here. Again, the big ask that I have as a listener of this podcast, if you have not done a demo with us, please do so, and check out what we're building. We continuously update this thing, and I'd love for you to be a part of that. I'd love to see if it can impact your business, and that is my goal. So thanks for listening to this podcast. Hope you take me up on that offer. Get to dripjobs.com, do a free demo with our team, and see what all the hype is about.